to start off with, why don't you just tell us a little bit about how you got involved in the project?
Yeah. I think Saya was looking for an editor, and my friend Nupur, and like our common friend Nupur, she pointed her to me, and I was doing some freelance edit work at that time, and we edited her grandfather's documentary, which he had shot, just something to keep within the family, and it was a great idea in itself, and that turned out to be quite well. And I had just quit my job a few months back, and I was looking to transition into film, and I'd always been wanting to transition, and I was like, okay, we'll start doing some video gigs here and there. And then I had this idea also that she was transitioning into becoming a filmmaker, and she was like, I'm going to be working on a project, and I'll give you a call. And I was like, okay, let's do this. And I think when the call came is when I had just about finished a 3 or 4 day workshop on how to shoot a shot with Umesh Kulkarni, and he was moderating that, and that had like lit a fire under my bum in that sort. Like, let's just do something. And then I think Saya's call came at the right time, asking for like, okay, she's doing this and she wants members to join the crew, and would I be up for it? And I think that timing worked out really well.
And from joining the project, like how did your expectations and also your role evolve through the project?
I think, I did not have a concrete expectation, or not that I can remember at least, because it's been over a year, almost 1.5 year now that we started having this conversation about the film and pre-production began. But I think I was initially excited about being like the DOP, and I think that was the conversation that we had very initially. And then she already had someone on board who had shot with her before to join, and I was like, okay, I can be an assistant because I haven't done this professionally. I think that was my first idea. Then from there, I just realized that there's a lot of work to be done, and I was like, okay, let's figure this out, let's figure that out, because I did not have a day job, and I was also excited, like, okay, someone's doing this and we're doing this together, and like, okay, let's just try to figure things out to just make things happen at a good pace. And I think that once that cadence started picking up, I found myself, I think we only found ourselves that, okay, we are doing multiple people's roles, and we just didn't know what the labels for those were. And then later on, I think we figured out, like, okay, like, I am an executive producer who has to manage like production, food, and water, and like schedules and stuff like that. And apart from that, like, also the first AD, and I still don't know, like, these definitions are very vague and out there, but let's just say that the scope kept on growing because of two very simple facts: that there was work to be done, and Saya and I had got off on a great feedback loop of sorts. And I think we understood where both of us were coming from artistically also, and in the project as well. And then we could just riff-raff and like get things done and keep the ball rolling and get things moving. And I think that is how it kind of evolved to be a lot of things. And I don't think I would want it any other way, because it kind of is inclined towards my personality as well. So which is why it was a lot of fun, because we did not just do like one boxed in thing or box B thing. It was a lot of figuring out, with a lot of other factors also, being the first feature film as such to be worked on. So yeah, it was a voluminous task, let's just put it that way.
So the theatre thing hasn't happened yet, but
Yeah.
there have been several other milestones, whether externally or internally. What do you think has been the most gratifying thing of working on this project?
I feel there was a lot of small moments of gratification. I think more internal than external, because the thing is, you value your work and you mark it, give it an X amount of points or whatever, and you keep it. And then when you hear other people kind of be like, yeah, this was actually well done or not well done, you kind of know, you've done the maths and you know kind of what you've done or not. But the crazy part about it, and the most gratifying, is that we saw it to the end. I feel that was the biggest achievement for me personally, and that we kept on seeing it to the end in multiple times, even during the project and afterwards. And just to look back, like, you kind of think back to yourself saying that you did this volume of work and you guys pulled it off. I think that itself was the biggest pat on the back that no one else can give Like it is just a very internal feeling of success, and honestly, I'm quite content with that. So yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about, since we haven't spoken, we don't have a representative on the team,
Yeah.
about the art direction and putting together some of the various sets, because that's also a role that we ended up having to step into.
Yeah, I think that was quite fun. I mean, again, like everything was getting tackled as a one next thing line item to be done, and we knew that we did not have like professional hands on the project entirely. So assimilating the art needed was long discussions before as to what we need, how the look should be, and a lot of like philosophical talk also about what should be in someone's room, not, and all of that. And then on ground going and sourcing, I think that was a lot of fun because you had to like haggle for prices. And we were in this part of town which is called Zuna Bazaar, and that is where they sell all the stolen or like resale goods, and you can find whatever the hell you want to find, and you have to haggle for prices. And the thing is that we did not want to buy these things, they were going to be returned. So we also had to set up like pseudo contracts with certain people who had never dealt with someone like this before. Like, you're going to take this cupboard for 2 weeks and then bring it back to me. And so that was entirely it was very exciting. Actually, it was a lot of fun to navigate those waters and to get everything that we wanted to in whatever budget we had fixed. So,
Which is not much.
which was not much, which is why we went to Zuma Bazaar, guys. But I think what I would want to point out apart from this was the rickshaw. Like I think that was the most fun that I've had in during the shoot process, because Malhar was the Nitesh was the on-screen driver, as you will see in the film, and I had the pleasure of being the off-screen driver, where if the rickshaw needs to be moved from point A to point B across the city, I figured out how to ride this thing, and that was the most fun I think I've had. And like Sai and I were like roaming around at night in the rickshaw because the shoot is done, and we're just going back, and I had to park the rickshaw in my parking lot and then bring it somewhere else the next day. And I think that was a lot of fun. Like, I wouldn't have thought driving rickshaw is that much fun. It is fun, but also it's really hard. It's quite hard work navigating that piece with like the gear in your hands and the steering and everything. And so I think we were like not underestimating, but not estimating how much effort goes into driving a rickshaw. And for those who don't know it, there's a fair amount of it.
Like, looking back now, is there anything you would do differently or change?
I mean, I would make a laundry list of this. So I
What are
think.
your top two?
Oh wow! Top two would be very broad strokes, giving more time to pre-production. A couple of more months at least would be one, and just so that we know what we're kind of stepping into, and we have more conversations with more people. But also, yeah, that was definitely one. Like, just extending the time for pre. And during the shoot, there are a lot of things that could have been done. It's not just one point. And even in post, I would be like maybe adding leeway in between cuts. For example, we knew that we wanted to finish it by a certain date, but for any other project, I would sit on it for a few weeks, sleep on it, completely forget that this was worked on, and then come back to it later and look at it with fresh eyes, because there was a lot of review exhaustion that Saya faced firsthand a lot more than I did, for sure. But it kind of you kind of tend to lose perspective of things. And personally, that is something that I would add. Like, very broad strokes, those would be the two things.
Okay, so that's a great segue into my last question. So, what was your reaction after seeing the first cut of the
I think Sai and I both wanted to just simultaneously delete the footage entirely, because it was so bad. Like, we did not know what if we had wasted time filming these past few months, because it was, and to this was just our ignorance, because we did not know how this process works. we knew that a first cut is supposed to be very dragged along, very long, and just like scenes are rolling over into one another. There is like some copy paste music that has just been put together for, and this it's overall like it's quite gross in both meanings of the words. And so yeah, the first impression was that, and then I think we kind of, our editor told us like this is how you have to edit a first cut, and then you have to kind of juice everything out of it, and then it got like we kind of distilled things out of it, and that process makes sense in hindsight. But as for the first look, like first thought on that cut, it was, I don't know, I wouldn't want to revisit that in my memory.